Can you build me a bike? Money's no object.
He is an artist, not a mechanic.
Alright. How about a new chassis for Bob?
That is intriguing.
Alright. Hey guys, this is Shroomy, Shroomathan, Mushroomy, Shroomster. I have a lot of different names, and I just really like lore. So, this is a very different video than usual, obviously. This is going to be all done in-game. Whoa. I wanted to get this video out quick to basically explain all of the new lore that I found on Thames District and on Powderkeg Mine. These are the new payload race maps that are in Stadium, and as you can see even from this picture of Thames District, there's a lot to go over. So, I think we can just start, well, we'll start with Thames District first because that's probably what it's going to give us here, but yeah. Alright, so we're going to do Thames District first, and I'm just going to kind of do a brief overview of everything I found, everything I've noticed, and I am not on the right team. We're going to go to spectators for this. Ignore my amazing Zenyatta skin. Yeah, so these maps have a lot of lore on them, especially Powderkeg Mine. I think Thames District is a little lacking, but I'll talk about that later when we get into it. So, first off, you have basically the opening here, and the skybox is very important. We're going to come back to that last. But if we can just do a fly around. So this is a new poster that I noticed. It's, you know, Jack the Ripper kind of a thing in London. Nothing really lore heavy here. This isn't like a lore teaser or anything. I think it's just supposed to be a fun little reference to the whole Jack the Ripper kind of thing. Yeah, so that's out of the way. That was obviously one of the more lower tier things in here. They have the iconic Kings Row anti-Omnic propaganda you see everywhere. I think it's on display on this map, especially now more than ever. In the distance, you can kind of see the old Kings Row area where everything used to be at, you know, like the fumes coming out. But yeah. Yeah, so Mary's Tea House. Once again, there's nothing really crazy in here. It's just a new tea house. You can see her royal little tea. No bots, only built to serve. All this is kind of the normal propaganda you'd expect on this type of map. There is this, though. Dun, 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 dun. This, Mandata Lives. So this is a reoccurring thing that you'll see not just on this map, but if you played the Toronto PvE mission. It's kind of like a propaganda thing. Like, it's almost a conspiracy theory that people have started to believe in, that Mandata is secretly alive somehow. He's not, obviously, but it's a really cool little conspiracy theory that the world seems to have bought into a bit here, and we get to see it more on Kings Row because of this map. Another thing with Omnics while we're here that I noticed is in here. So, there's 2 jail cells, it looks like, and inside them, it's, well, complicated. Like, here, we can go inside. Thank you, beautiful tool. So they look like Omnic jail cells, or I saw people saying maybe it's like a living quarters thing, but, you know, they have bars right here, so I don't know how it could be a living quarters. But they have the Toronto Mandata propaganda all over again, just like with the other maps. So there's that. That's goofy. It was a little silly. Yeah, but equal rights for Omnics, you know, and then the Mandata picture that's on Kings Row. Yeah. Same thing in here. This stuff, I think, is just kind of doing the same thing it was back there, where basically just kind of going over, you know, the whole Mandata is alive, or Mandata is still felt, especially here in Kings Row. This is like a very big place for him. And there's another thing for Mandata, if we can find it, if I remember where it is. Is it in here? I believe it's in here. It's in a few places across the map. I'll point it out when I see it, but there's a cool Mandata basically picture. If I don't end up finding it, I'll definitely put it on screen. But I've seen it on Twitter, and I've seen it floating around in a couple of places. It's a really interesting Mandata, like, Person of the Year magazine thing. I really thought it was in here. But yeah, it's a really interesting Mandata Person of the Year, basically magazine, talking about Mandata. So that was another little lore thing that I noticed on the map. That is kind of it. So Thames District isn't that big on lore comparatively to Powderkeg Mine. There's a lot more to chew into there. The biggest thing on this map is gonna be the skybox. And you might have been wondering, like, Shroomy, what's going on with the skybox? There's something out here aside from that is not supposed to be here. these two buildings are Vishkar buildings. There's this stadium kind of thing and this tower. And if we go over to the tower first, you can see it has the Vishkar logo on the side as well as some, a symbol for what it's going to be. Ignore the out of bounds iconicness. But yeah, they have this, and they have like kind of the hard light tech structure around the building, implying it's under construction right now. But also, they have like this big amphitheater thing, which people have pointed out online. It looks a lot like Lifeweaver's school from his origin story. So these two things combined are kind of painting a story that Vishkar has started to kind of invade King's Row. And this is a really big deal for a lot of reasons. The biggest thing I've seen going around is this is probably in response to the Turning Green initiative, which was the thing that Mandata and all the Omnics were trying to do. It was supposed to be a place for Omnics to live in King's Row. It was supposed to be like this symbol of peace, and then Null Sector attacked and basically screwed it all up. So this could be Vishkar moving in being like, hey, we know you've been struggling for a while and we're here to help. I could see that, but also Vishkar in general is not a trustworthy company. If you know anything about Symmetra's story and where she's going, there's something that happened with the founder of Vishkar that Lifeweaver basically told her to go and look into. So you could be seeing maybe Symmetra coming here because of this, or maybe she has to come to King's Row for some other thing. But of course, in with that as well, we have this, which, excuse me, proudly sponsored by the Singhania family and Vishkar Corporation. I have no idea who this is, the statue. It looks like the Athena statue from Ilios, which people have pointed out. I think it is that statue. I have no idea who this is supposed to be, what this is supposed to be, but Vishkar, once again, playing a big part in this map. Yeah, so this could be something we see in the future. This is probably, if there was a hero teaser, I could see this being it, like the Singhania family being something, but I don't think it's concrete enough to really label as a hero teaser. Nothing really is here. And the last thing on this map is the new movie posters. So Thespian 4.0 in every movie, and Maisie Jones, which not really sure who that is, and AI Shyless is another reoccurring character in these. And look, Halfred's down here. So producing this one, Shadow in The Last Summer, 2 Omnic movies, which on King's Row once again makes sense. So yeah, like I said, there's not really a lot here aside from the Vishkar stuff, and I will definitely speculate on that more towards the end. I want to get through the lore segments first. So with that, I think we can just head right on over to the next map, which, as we all know, is Powderkeg Mine. So we're just gonna womp, restart match, and we can really dissect Powderkeg Mine. Right, and the other map we're going to be looking at is Powderkeg Mine. This is a Deadlock Rebels base, probably their main base. There's a lot of cool little lore here, like look, there's people were playing Hearthstone, it looks like, some Hearthstone cards, but playing cards in general. And yeah, that kind of thing. We're going to go through it all basically from the beginning. So let's just start over here, and I'll break everything down as we go. So if you're coming from the spawn room, you're going to be going down the main road, if it lets me. You're going to be going down the main road, and you're going to be turning here, and whoa, look at this. Fix-It Frankies. So Frankie is a lore character from the Deadlock Rebels books. One of the members, they're like the hacker of the group, kind of like the background hacker mechanic, kind of, well, not mechanic, definitely hacker. I don't really know if this is their full place. I feel like that's more of a reference. You can see like a cool Deadlock Rebels flag here as well. Yeah, I think this is just a really cool reference to Frankie. Not a lot on Frankie, really, so it's just really good to hear about them again. It's been a long time. So yeah, but as we continue going down the road, before we go deeper in, I'm going to go to the other spawn real quick. And we see this. Whoa, what is this? Who are these guys? I have no idea who built these, but I love how they look. I think they're very goofy. There's a bird, and obviously, look, there's a big old Bob type of guy. So there's a big Bob man here. He has a cool little jacket. I don't think there's any lore implications with these two. It's just kind of like a thing that's happening. So that's pretty neat. But if we keep going, and let's keep doing that, we can get deeper into the base. And as we go deeper in, we can find a little like surveillance room here. So this stuff looks like it's just surveillance of the outside area around the base, obviously, and this is just nothing really, once again, nothing really there. Looks like just surveillance tech around the base. I think it's just really cool to get an idea of this. And if we look, the wires connect, they go up, and then they lead to the telescope up here, which is looking out at the thing that was on the monitor back there, that base. So I'm not sure if it's like connected or what, but like all of that is a thing that's happening in the background, which I love the little details on this map like that. I think that's really, really fun. Yeah. But, and also, of course, the Deadlock Rebels banner thing with the like little water spewing out. But let's go deeper in now, shall we? I think we should go deeper in. So in here, there's two major story things I noticed. In the corner over here, there's this. Top secret. No snooping Ash. So before we go inside, there was interactions that came out last season with Cassidy and Ash, where Cassidy basically talks about her bike and if she wants it back. And she looks really defeated and sounds really tired. I'll try to put it on screen if I remember. But
I'm feeling generous today, Ash. Think I might just remember where I left your bike after all.
I don't want it.
What? I thought you loved that bike. You bluffing, Ash?
I never bluff. You ought to know that by now.
she looks really defeated and she sounds really tired. So everyone kind of assumed she was just kind of at her breaking point with him. But there's also the opportunity here that, well, they were setting this up. So if we go inside, look, the gang is building Ash a new bike. Yeah, it's a brand new Deadlock Rebels bike. I think this is really cute. It's a really cool looking bike too. It's super red. Got the Deadlock Rebels logo on it. I think this is neat. Yeah, I really like this, and it's a really cool little lore detail that I hope we get to see more of. I hope we get to see these guys soon. And if we start heading over here, we will. Because the big magnum opus of this map, the big thing is the board. Dun dun dun. So, Watchpoint Grand Mesa. They're going to do a raid on Watchpoint Grand Mesa, which you might be wondering, what the hell is even Watchpoint Grand Mesa? Oh my gosh. It is the place where all of the original Overwatch's tech is currently being stored, like a giant storage facility. So this place is a gold mine for them. They are going to go crazy here. So there's a lot of stuff to break down on this board. You know, can Bob fit through here? Guard changes at 12:30. Everything here. Drone charge port, no weapons. Serum storage is the big one. I don't know what serum they could be talking about. I once again have some theories that I'll talk at the end of the video. But yeah, so it looks like the Deadlock gang is preparing to do a raid on Watchpoint Grand Mesa. But as well, there's a cool little data pad here, which this data pad reads, Notice of Transfer, Agent blank is being stationed at Watchpoint Grand Mesa, with the intention of taking over the role of Chief of Security, effective immediately. Blank surpassed performance records in all physical tests and has proven to be an asset to Helix Security. Blank performance in blank demonstrates great leadership potential. Blank's quick thinking led to the success in the blank recovery mission in the blank, as well as the safety and security of civilians on site and Helix trainees blank, blank, and blank. Blank will arrive at the Grand Mesa on blank blank, at which point blank blank will provide security clearance, initiative, handoff proceedings, and perform mandatory blank training. Signed, blank blank, Chief of Staff. P.S. Farewell party for blank blank being held at blank, the blank blank. Cake options include blank, blank, Black Forest. Employee records of official use by Helix Securities International only. Unauthorized distribution will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. That is a hero teaser if I've ever seen one. I think there's a good chance we're getting a Helix hero next year now, thanks to this. So we've desperately needed a Helix hero for a long time. Farah is now with Overwatch. She's no longer with Helix. And yeah, it's just long overdue, personally. So it's very good to see we're going to be getting one. I think that one is a lot more of a straight shot of like this character is going to be important than anything else. And I can see the Deadlock gang getting in trouble with them and fighting them in the base, and that could be where this story begins. But the last little bit here is on the map is, well, there's a little target practice thing where they're throwing darts at a Helix Securities banner. Well, banner, I say poster, but yeah, a Helix Security poster. So the Deadlock Rebels really, really, really do not like them. I think That's pretty clear at this point. So, with all of that, that's most of the secrets I noticed on the first day of these maps. Obviously, the Grand Mesa thing is something I'm probably going to talk about more in a bit, as well as everything with Thames District, and I'm going to give my opinions on both maps together in a second. So, with all that out of the way, let's just get right into my feelings on both maps. Alright, so this is just going to be my wrap-up thoughts on basically all the lore, and some speculative pieces on both maps, and we're just going to go in order. I'm going to hover around the maps again as I just kind of talk. So first, Thames Street. So, like I was saying earlier, I think Thames Street, the biggest thing you have to... Thames District, the biggest thing you have to know is the Vishkar stuff. Vishkar definitely going to be a thing in the future. I could see this being some kind of type of story arc. Maybe the Omnics of the Underworld, like Iggy and Lizzie and all of them get involved. Maybe we see Case make a reoccurrence appearance again, because we don't really know what happened to him after the London Calling comics. I could see them maybe working together, something like that. So I think that's something, because I think those Omnics especially, well, the people who live around here in general, probably don't like Vishkar moving in like this. So I can see them doing something about it, or some type of plotline emerging there. As for, well, the rest of the map, I don't think there's a lot to really discuss long term. A lot of the things on the map, such as the jail cells here, are kind of just talking about what's already been an issue on the map in general, with the Omnics and how they're being oppressed. So I think that's basically the main thing here, is just the stuff with Vishkar. Maybe we see some type of rebellion happen down the road with like the Omnics of the Underworld rising up again, just like everything that happened in the past, like in London Calling. Could see that again. I think that's probably the avenue they go. Maybe we see Symmetra and Iggy meet. Maybe we see Case return and he's like a reoccurring villain again for a bit in this storyline. There's a lot they can do here, and I'm interested to see what they do. I don't know if there's a lot really to base off a hero in particular yet here. I think there's not enough pieces laid, but I don't think it's impossible. So that's basically all my thoughts for Thames Street. In total, I think this map is good, but I do wish that they had touched more on everything with London Calling, like Iggy, Tracer, Case, Emily, those kind of characters that don't really get a lot of the limelight. Well, Tracer obviously, but the rest, Emily and Iggy especially, don't really get that limelight, and I kind of wish they had gotten it more here, even with like little references and stuff. That's kind of the only real miss to me with this map. Everything else is pretty good, like the graffiti's great. Yeah, so I actually really enjoy it. As for the other map, we are going to go to Powderkeg Mine. So Powderkeg, I think, is setting up a lot more in the short term. Like I alluded to when I talked about Powderkeg Mine, I think this is mainly setting up a Helix character or hero down the road. You could probably even see the Deadlock Gang fighting them in their cinematic or comic or whatever, because, well, you know, the Helix dartboard and also how they're going to invade the Grand Mesa. I think another thing that could happen is we could maybe potentially see the Grand Mesa as a future map after the upcoming maps, which are the Arcology and Tokyo, are out of the way. So that's something we could probably see in the future. And, of course, I think we're probably going to see Ash get her new bike and whatever that story unfolds with, or whatever happens in there that you can see in there. I think those are kind of the big things. Those things, I think, are a lot more self-explanatory and focused on. I think those things, they feel more concrete to me, and I feel like they'll happen first. If Helix is involved, they could potentially tie the Deadlock Gang to the conspiracy as well, which the conspiracy is a long-running thing. I've made a video on it if you want to go look at that. It's on my channel. But the conspiracy is a very big faction that has ties all over the world. And yeah, we can maybe see a connection there thanks to Helix, which ties to Oasis, which ties to Moira, which ties to the conspiracy. So could probably see something there if they wanted to. But yeah, I think this is a pretty good map. I like this one a lot more for its story and lore, especially the Frankie stuff. But as usual, I'd love to hear what you guys have to think about these maps and what you have to your thoughts on them in general. Like I said, I really like both of them. I think Thames District could have been done a little bit better in terms of, like, you know, the London Calling stuff and Emily and etc. But that doesn't mean I hate it. In fact, I really, really like it. So yeah, what did you guys like? Which one of these is your favorite? What did you think should have been there? Is there anything I missed that I should have talked about? Please let me know below. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to try to churn out videos a little bit quicker like this. Hope you like it. I'm probably going to be doing a Wu Yang video next. Wu Yang is probably going to be the next character I talk about. Do like a full breakdown of everything we learned about him and his lore in general, because there is a lot there. There's a lot. So we're going to be breaking that down next, probably whenever that happens. So, yep. That is all from me, guys, and I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.